Happy birthday, Blair.
Ow. No, happy birthday to you.
No, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to both of you.
Oh, thank you.
I love you. I love you guys. Happy birthday. You guys are the best. No, you love that you have like birthdays right next to each other.
It's easy. Gets it out of the way.
It's great. I know. Don't have to worry about a birthday until summertime again. This is TWIS. This Week in Science, episode 597, recorded on December 14th, 2016. Save your science for later. Hey everyone, I am Dr. Kiki, and tonight on This Week in Science, we are going to fill your heads with running, penis bones, and lady longevity. But first...
Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. The following out programming is part of a Chinese conspiracy to convince Americans that climate change is real. We take marching orders from multiple left-wing cabals within the United Nations. We use the EPA to undermine corporate freedom. We are professional agitators. We are paid to protest, paid by aliens in order to further the expansion of the Illuminati New World Order. Yes, they pilot our black helicopters. We faked the moon landing. We invented evolution, made it up to ruin Christmas. We planted fake dinosaur bones in the desert, sprinkled plaster parts of mythical hominins in caves across the globe, all to back up our lies. Like the voting booths, our ranks are full of dead people. We infiltrated the Department of Energy to propagate our climate agenda. We refuse to give you the names of climate researchers because, like atoms, black holes, bosons, galaxies, and everything else beyond your sight, they do not exist. We made them up. You have been brainwashed by us to believe in science, hypnotized into thinking that physics actually works. Even now, you are about to undergo another session of propaganda here on This Week in Science. Coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind I can't get enough. I want to learn everything. I want to fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I want to know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening this week in science? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening this week in science?
Good science.
Kiki's distracted.
I got distracted by a cat.
It's the cutest.
She was drinking my water. I couldn't have that. I need my water. She's a sweetheart.
Don't drink that water now, Kiki. Do not drink that water.
Run away, Stella. Run away. Oh. Hello, Justin. Good evening,
Hello.
Blair. And
Hello.
everyone out there. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Science. We are back yet again to bring you the science. You know, we do it week in, week out. We love the science and we love sharing it with you. We love chatting about all the things that we've learned about during the week, things that are important, the things that are just titillating. You know, sometimes that's just all you need. But this week we've got a little of everything. Make sure, you guys, I want to remind you that you can find out about our calendar. The TWIS calendar is currently available for 2017. If you go to twis.org, you'll be able to find out all about the wonderful TWIS calendar for 2017. So twis.org is where you go if you're interested. Also, we will be in San Francisco for SF Sketchfest Cal Academy Nightlife on January 19th. And there is information about that as well. So, on with the show. We've got lots of science news. I have stories about the mammalian baculum, which we've discussed before. Yes. Gravity, because we all love gravity, and also the fears of science. Or is it just preparedness? We'll get to that in a few.
Maybe it's both.
Justin? What would you like?
I've got a reason to run, no time for sleep, and metaphorical feeling.
Metaphorically speaking, Sounds like fun. Blair, what's in the animal corner?
Oh, I have, males and females, they're a little different. So I have information about that.
Oh, good. Please do
And-
clear this up for us.
Yeah. And I also have a fishing wire made out of pee.
Oh, I hope you're very successful with that. Test strength, very good.
Oh, quite.
Yeah, quite good. Quite, yes. All right. I'm inspired to move along into the rest of the show. Okay, let's start off with the scary stuff so we can move down the line into the more enjoyable future or current day. Reported in the Washington Post and also SF Gate, many places, researchers are copying U.S. climate data. And copying the data is not necessarily a new thing. We always want a backup of our data, right? But the impetus for this mass backup effort is fear that it might disappear under a Trump administration. That there have been enough commentary, comments by individuals that have been put forward as cabinet members, who have been put forward as heads of departments, who additionally people who are not who are not necessarily interested in seeing climate science move forward and may also have ties to the oil industry.
Or literally be the oil industry.
Or literally be the oil industry. I work for Exxon. I'm going to be Secretary of State. What? Yeah. So there's a lot going on that is coming January 20th, 21st. Things may change. And so researchers are concerned. And now while we, as I mentioned in the beginning, comment on, is this fear or is this preparedness? Now, there is precedent for this action of backing up government data, which is publicly owned data. It's not like it's all private data that it's confidential and nobody can look at it. These are publicly owned databases from NASA, from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, from the EPA, from across the board. But this supposed paranoia is not necessarily paranoia. In the Harper administration in Canada, there were reams of fisheries data that were just thrown away. They physically threw away books in the Canadian during the Harper administration in the Canadian government. So this has happened before, and so it's not it makes it easy to say we don't have evidence of this happening, or you don't know when the data is not there, right? And so why not back up all the data and put it places? And so there is an effort by a group out of the University of Pennsylvania. This is the PPEH lab, and they are at Penn Arts and Sciences at this Pennsylvania Green Campus Partnerships. And their story is that they started out wanting to tell stories about environmental sciences. They're scholars, students, artists, scientists, educators, and they're working to generate local and global awareness and engagement in the emergent area of the environmental humanities. So how humankind interacts with the environment. And so as part of this, they have started what is called the Data Refuge. And within the Data Refuge, this is an effort not only to back up specifically governmental climate data, but they're working to back up all sorts of environmental data from across the United States. And so they are casting a net for collaborators, and you can find them at ppehlab.org/data refuge. You can also just go to ppehlab.org for information all about this effort. And hopefully we'll be able to speak with people about this at some point in the future. I wasn't able to get them on the show at this point. But they are working to put together how-to guides, basically how to have hackathons, or how to have events where you can, in your local area, work to back up important data that needs to have a place. And they're working also with, they're additionally working with the archive, the Internet Archive, to be able to finish their efforts for 2016 of backing up information. And the Internet Archive has been working to back up the Internet for over a decade now. And they have collected data and kept it through a number of presidential transitions. So it's not just this one in particular, but the Internet Archive has worked to back up data and make sure that important data is in place through different presidential transitions, because it's always a question of how the transition will go.
Yeah, and it's just, it's good to archive stuff. It's good to have a record of this, because that is the fear that, especially on this subject, which the incoming administration and through all its people it's posting are vocally hostile towards science, and especially the science of climate change. So the idea that they could just get in and we've got a person who's in charge of the Department of Energy now who once vowed to get rid of his own job that he now has. Get rid of the entire department. There have been similar threats against the EPA. This is when you have people in charge who have spoken against the entire institutions in which they're in charge. Yeah, you should be concerned that they're going to destroy it. And if they try to get rid of the information, and I could even see this as being become government policy because of what's going on now, that the entire issue can become sort of illegal, right? Like, even mentioning it is, if the government says that this is a hoax, then talking about it legally might become one. I mean, they were asking for the names of the researchers who've been involved in climate change.
Yeah, and that's another point of the agencies that have been where the names of researchers who have gone to particular climate science meetings and been involved in certain climate science data collection efforts. The offices from which those names were requested, they turned down the requests and they said, no, we're not going to hand over the names, because they don't really know why the names are needed. But this is another part of why this data saving effort is underway, because there's a question as to the intentions of the next,
it sounds like an enemies list.
Group that's in charge. Yeah, it does sound like an enemies list. And so right now, I've got a screen share online for Climate Mirror, and Climate Mirror is part of an ad hoc project to mirror public climate data sets before Trump takes office in January, and to make the data sets free and accessible. It was started by a tweet from journalist Eric Holthaus. He's also a meteorologist. This is hosting mirrors. It will have external links to external mirrors. Right now it hosts one mirror of its own to NOAA's paleoclimate data sets. But there is a Google Doc for this project. And if you are interested in becoming a part of helping the mirroring effort to mirroring the data and saving the data down, you can go to this Google Doc and basically sign up, and you end up contacting the PPEH lab and say, I want to help with this. And basically you can help. They're looking for help to save the data, to mirror data sets on the web. And like Fatis said earlier in the chat room, this is kind of like the climate change equivalent of the seed cave, the seed vault that was built in Scandinavia to store the world's seed varieties in the event of a catastrophe. So this is the climate data equivalent at this point in time.
So this is basically to make so many different homes for this stuff that it can't all be tracked down and deleted. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
And there's another crucial reason for this. Not only so that it can't be deleted, but so that it can't be altered. So that the research that's there can't be manipulated by putting in, well, we're going to have our own new batch of quasi-scientists take another look at the data and see what conclusions they come from it. And then some data is left out. You get snippets. You get things written.
And one of the great things about having these data sets made publicly available, public-facing data sets, is that anyone can then sit down with the data too. I mean, at this point, you pretty much can, but it takes some digging to find them. But if these data sets are all in a repository and they're put someplace where you can access the data super easily, then it opens up the big data aspect of analyzing it all. So makes it easier to see what the scientists have been reporting. If that is, if that's your bent, if you're into data, that is.
It sucks that we potentially have to do this, but I'm so happy that it's being done.
Yeah, seriously, I'm like, I kind of want to do a data mirroring event here in Portland. I mean, that would be great. And I'm surprised that I haven't heard about someone jumping on that bandwagon in the San Francisco Bay Area yet. I mean, there is a UC Davis scientist who I spoke with, Nick Santos, who's at UC Davis. He's an environmental researcher. And he, over the weekend, started copying government climate data onto a non-government server for the public. So, he is a UC Davis scientist, is part of that effort.
That's
we can
great.
all be part of the effort. Yeah. And, whether or not fears come true, whether or not fears are founded, this is a wonderful effort to put this important data someplace so that it is not only in one location, that it, like Justin said, can be deleted, damaged, altered, what have you, that you always have more copies. Another idea, I was talking to my husband tonight and he was saying BitTorrent. We need to BitTorrent this stuff. Get it out there into the wild.
And the other aspect, this is not without precedent, as you pointed out, but also like we've had a political appointee that was putting I think it was like a 20 or something year old kid who was editing NASA press releases, expunging the word climate change, and the head of NASA revolted against that and got his press releases the way they were written to be published. But we've seen these attempts before, so it's coming. This is coming. This is what's going to happen.
Going to happen. We'll see. We will see. I am glad scientists, it's like the great Liam Lynch once said in a song, there's nothing greater than cookies for later. But in this case, it's science. Saving my science for later. There's nothing greater.
We wouldn't have
saving my science for later.
We wouldn't have algebra. We wouldn't have the writings of Aristotle. I mean, there have been times when there have been attempts to destroy information. Little bits that get saved.
Information is power, people. Come on. And if you have any questions as to why all this data is so important, let me just lead you to a few studies that are out this week through NASA, or in one study is U.S. Department of Energy. We've also got NASA collaborations. and as well as University of Colorado Boulder and Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. We've got a lot of organizations working on some very important work. Just reported at the American Geophysical Union meeting in San Francisco this week. U.S. Department of Energy, Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory has been taking measurements in the field in the lab to quantify a scale of greenhouse gas releases, carbon dioxide and methane releases from the Arctic tundra. And they've actually explained the underlying mechanisms for what was first seen in around 2014. They documented it, a spring pulse of greenhouse gas emissions from the Arctic. And in 2014, what they documented, it was CO2 emissions equivalent to 46% of the net carbon dioxide that's absorbed in the summer months. So 46% of what is absorbed was gassed out. And then methane emissions added 6% to the summer fluxes. And climate trends might actually make these kinds of emissions from the tundra, from these wet grounds, even more common. And Berkeley lab scientist Nama Raz Yassif says we can see the effects of climate change happening more rapidly in the Arctic than any other part of the world. So we really need to understand the processes that are occurring and what to expect in the future. The amount of CO2 and methane in the atmosphere determines the greenhouse effect. So we need to know more about these sources. This paper was published in the Geophysical Research Letters. It was titled Large CO2 and Methane Emissions from Polygonal Tundra During Spring Thaw in Northern Alaska. So the soil is releasing gases actually as a function of microbes. So soils are full of microbes and their activity emits gas. And so the ground freezes in the late fall and the permafrost goes from the permafrost up and from the surface down. And there's an active layer that gets trapped right in the middle. And then for around a month, Raz Yassif says this middle layer between the permafrost and this area of the surface that's frozen remains active. And so there's microbial activity that's still ongoing, producing carbon and methane, but you've got a frozen surface above it. So what's happening to that carbon dioxide and methane? It's trapped and it's just stored there. The microbes are just active and doing stuff, and it just stored there for the winter, and the cap of ice thaws, and then all those gases that the microbes built up over that month or so that they were active and not frozen, they all gas out into the atmosphere in that spring period.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that these emission pulses are going to become more frequent, maybe not annual necessarily. It depends on whether there's repeated thaws and freezes, whether or not there are cracks that the gas can be emitted through in the ice. They think in warmer years that the spring pulses are going to be more frequent. And then additionally, we've got researchers looking at the atmosphere and looking at the ionosphere and how the atmosphere of the Earth interacts with the solar emissions, the spectra. And so we've got the atmosphere that goes up, and the ionosphere is like where gases of the Earth kind of get really diffuse, and it's like basically space, but it's all of our, the ionosphere is where the auroras take place when particles get electrified from the solar winds that come out. And what Boulder researchers, University of Colorado Boulder and NASA researchers have determined is that there's kind of this really neat effect when the solar flares come through or solar winds come through, they interact with the ionosphere, and usually there's this lot of energy that starts building up, and it leads to what you would expect, kind of an expansion of the upper atmosphere because of heating effects. But then what they see, actually looking at this, is that there's a contraction of the upper atmosphere that happens. And they didn't know exactly what was going on there. But basically, because of the ionic effects that happen in the ionosphere, nitric oxide gets produced in the upper atmosphere that allows a really rapid cooling effect. So instead of the upper atmosphere getting really heated and kind of bulging outward and potentially running into satellites and causing drag on satellites that are out past the usually out past the upper atmosphere, it gets pulled back in. So it's kind of a neat thermostat effect. They're calling it. They say it's kind of like having a stuck thermostat. It's a case of nature reining itself in. But this is one of the things that where NASA is going to be looking at this more closely, because they're going to need to they're going to be launching a couple of satellites to be able to track changes in the upper atmosphere and the ionosphere. So they're actually going to have one craft that'll be fairly close to Earth in the upper atmosphere, then another one that'll be like 22,000 miles out that'll be taking a broader view of what's happening in the ionosphere to be able to really determine this interaction between space and Earth's atmosphere and how it all works together. And then we've got some other really neat stuff from NASA that's going on that is super cool, where they recently took carbon dioxide data from a satellite called OCO2, and they merged it with software for high resolution weather forecasting and weather trends. And what they've been able to model is a visualization of the Earth's carbon dioxide movement. So the weather software was able to give real tracking of airflow around the globe, and then they had the data of the carbon dioxide levels, and so they're able to get a three-dimensional view of carbon dioxide movement production, and so it'll give us a better idea of where carbon dioxide is coming from and when, and also where the sinks are. Where is it going when it gets pulled back into the Earth? And so it's
pretty cool.
Yeah, and they're gonna keep developing this model to be able to give us a greater understanding of our carbon cycle. What is actually happening on the Earth with the carbon cycle?
I just feel like, sorry, Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
It's all us up here. Apologies.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all us.
Let's be clear.
All that carbon dioxide, Northern Hemisphere.
It's just like you drew a line right down the equator, and all of that carbon dioxide is in the Northern Hemisphere.
All of it.
Well, I mean, not actually all, but in the
Most of
visualization
it.
we just watched, it's bright red and thick up there, and you can see right down to the continents on the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah, not many people live on Antarctica, so
No.
yeah.
And Australia just isn't enough to do it, I guess.
Not enough. Not enough. It's tiny compared to all the other biomass that exists on the planet. Yeah. Yep. Well, anyway, all these things are so important, and they are backed up, or even these projects are even run by governmental organizations. There's collaborations across universities, institutions, organizations, governmental bodies. I mean, all this data is important. It's going to help us understand our planet. So let's back it up, people. I just backed up a little. All right, Justin, what you got?
So as we who cover climate change await the hammers to batter down our doors, we'd best be prepared to run. And while life on the run may not be to everyone's liking, it does have its benefits, as MRI scans reveal that endurance runners' brains have greater functional connectivity than the brains of more sedentary individuals. University of Arizona researchers compared brain scans of young adults, adult cross-country runners, to young adults who don't engage in regular physical activity at all. The runners showed greater functional connectivity between distinct brain regions within several areas of the brain, including the frontal cortex, the brain matter region tasked with cognitive functions, things like planning, decision-making, the ability to multitask. So this was published in the journal Frontiers in Human Neuroscience. University of Arizona running expert David Raiklin, an associate professor of anthropology, co-designed this study with University of Arizona psychology professor Gene Alexander, who also studies brain aging and Alzheimer's disease. So along with their colleagues, they compared MRI scans of a group of male cross-country runners to those young adults who don't engage in the athletic activities when they were resting, right? So this is sort of resting brain. They weren't putting them on a treadmill to do this. They just wanted to know, what do you like? How's your brain when you're just sort of in a restive state? So previous studies have shown that activities that require sort of fine motor control or audio involvement, things like playing musical instruments, or even things like playing golf, have the ability to alter the brain structure and function. But this repetitive task had not been previously looked at. Quotey voice here, these activities that people consider repetitive might actually involve many complex cognitive functions like planning and decision making. They may have effects on the brain. One of the key questions that these results raise is whether what we're seeing in young adults in terms of the connectivity differences impart some benefit later in life, says Alexander, who is also a professor of neuroscience and psychological sciences. But these guys have a lot of degrees. The areas of the brain where we saw more connectivity in runners are also the areas that are impacted as we age. So it really raises the question whether being active as a young adult could potentially be beneficial and perhaps afford some resilience against the effects of aging and disease, which is what he is focused on studying. So
I don't like running.
I know. Well, as I
What
get
does
older
this
too,
mean
the
for
knees
me?
they stop, being as
Can't I
protective.
just can't I just go for a stroll
Right.
Well, I mean, as this
or
is
move
sort of
my legs while I watch TV?
what I would assume, like in
Right.
a study like this, you could also find, because it's the repetitive thing, what's going on, the decision making. I bet you the bicyclists would also
Mhm.
fare equally well in a study like this.
It's
But,
interesting,
yeah,
though. I mean, it is repetitive, but when you get into it's interesting that there is this effect in the brain, particularly in connectivity between different regions, because walking and running, when it gets down to it, is a spinal cord reflex. You have top-down control, like adjusting things so that you don't trip and fall if there's a crack in the road or there's, a step that you have to go up. So you do have the top-down coordinating control, but it's a spinal cord reflex. You'll just, once you start it going, it keeps going until you tell it to stop. And so it's interesting that there is this coordination that's happening in running.
or maybe, maybe it just frees up your frontal cortex to like, you know what, I should start thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Right, the runner's high, the meditation,
Yes. So that's my question: is
Yeah.
how do we know it's not just exercise?
Well, and in a way it is. I mean, so this is sort of what they're finding, because there've been a lot of studies like this that I think we've reported on, or that we've seen out there, that exercise is beneficial to cognitive health.
Right. And if you're doing something like tennis, or like you said, or the eye-hand coordination, or
Mhm.
something that's exercise but takes greater body control, you would expect that you would have maybe
Right,
some
like
amount
they
of
did an investigation on NBA players, and found that they have an incredible amount of brain activity in the game, because there's dribbling while there's passing and strategies, all these things happening in real time and real fast.
yeah.
But this is this is showing that you get those effects from something like running,
Repetitive.
where you don't have to, you don't have to be as perhaps, or at least apparently, you don't have to be as mentally engaged in all the different aspects of the activity.
All right, so maybe you could lie on your couch and move your legs around, Blair.
Yeah.
Maybe that-
Yeah. Well, I think about like I hate to run, but I love to swim, and my brain totally wanders when I swim. So
Yeah.
that's a
Mhm.
repetitive physical motion that would allow my brain to exercise as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that from running when I did that a long time ago.
A long time ago.
But just before you get up early, wake your teenager up and send them out running the track to improve their cognitive ability, consider this next study a review of the scientific literature by a work group composed of representatives of the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Sleep Research Society, and American Academy of Dental Sleep Medicine. They found that the later high school start times are associated with positive outcomes among teens, including longer weekday sleep durations and reduced vehicular accidents. This is a result of a systematic review and meta-analysis of 18 peer-reviewed studies. So it's a study of the studies that have been done. They found that late starts increased the sleep nights by about 19 minutes. And then when school started actually an hour later, it would even be 53 more minutes of sleep. So basically, the teens are using up every bit of sleep they can before going to school. And the further out you push it, the further out they will sleep. Huh. And it was, I guess there's a recommendation from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine that people between the ages of 13 and 18 should be sleeping 8 to 10 hours a day. This study showed that only about 69% of students sleep less, that 69% of high school students sleep less than 8 hours.
Yeah, I could believe that.
Mhm.
I could
I
absolutely
did not
believe
get
that.
8 hours sleep in high school. Absolutely
No.
not.
And so here's
No.
the key to it. In the teenage years, it says here according to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, there's a natural shift in the timing of the body's internal circadian clock during puberty, causing most teens to have a biological preference for a late bedtime, which is, of course, then a natural conflict for early school start times. And this quote is amazing. Our nature's future is literally dependent upon the physical, mental, and educational excellence of our high school students. This is from Morgan Thaler, researcher involved. The most recent national surveys show that less than 1/3 of high school students get enough sleep as recommended by the leading national authorities. This is of concern since inadequate sleep has been linked to worsened mental health, decreased ability to learn, increased obesity rates, increased motor vehicle accidents, and even increased substance abuse. So you can still take them out there running the laps at the track to improve their cognitive ability, but do it after school.
Yeah, my high school started at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
Whew.
most do.
Yeah,
I think, at least
and
around here.
my first classes were always either math or French.
Wow.
Nice.
Two things very difficult to do at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember having to get up in the morning and get myself to school. I was always running late. I rarely was on time. I'm still always late, though.
See, but I wonder if your high school had started later and you had set a track of being on time, maybe you'd be an on-time person now. You don't know.
I don't know about that. All I
feel
know,
like I just would have stayed up later and slept in longer. but
all I know is I got in a car accident in my driveway going to school
Oh
at 7 in the morning.
So there you go.
Yeah.
And actually, exactly the opposite of what I just said is what they found from the study. They found that those students who were given later start times actually slept more. They went to bed about the same time.
Yeah, so you go because of the like you said, the circadian rhythm change that happens around puberty. They want to stay up later, so 10, 11, 12, maybe even later than that, right? And then you have to wake up in the morning 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., however early to be able to get to your school at whatever time, whether or not you're driving or taking the bus or however you're getting there. If the school starts later, you go to bed at the same time because of that new late night circadian rhythm, yet you're able to sleep until 8 a.m. And so you get the sleep that you need. Maybe you do better in your studies. You're happier. You don't have as many fights at school. I don't know. Not as many car accidents. But yeah, we've reported before the studies that have shown kids that get to sleep more do better in school and have fewer car accidents. And there's a whole bunch of benefits to more sleep. And I mean, Ariana Huffington is no scientist, but she's got a book out now on sleep, touting the benefits of sleep and sleep science. Maybe we could get Ariana Huffington on the show to talk about her new book.
Okay.
I'd rather get a sleep scientist. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Does that do it for your stories, Justin?
That's it for my first half.
All right. Well, this is This Week in Science. And do you know what time it is?
Oh, what time is it?
We missed it last week. It's time for Blair's Animal Corner.
She loves our creatures, great and small. Biped, millipede, no pet at all. Wanna hear about animals? She's your girl. Except for giant pandas and squirrels.
What you got, Blair?
Oh, I'm so excited. I missed this last week. I have some amazing differences between males and females. In particular, brains. Yes, brains. A study on deer on the Scottish Isle of Rum has found evidence that larger brains in female red deer lead to longer lifespans and more offspring raised to adulthood.
Makes sense.
So there's been a lot of research on comparing brain sizes between species, and we've talked about that a lot on the show. And we've talked a little bit about when brain size actually means nothing. We've talked about that a lot on the show too.
A lot.
So brain size is kind of one of those things that I bring up because it has some very interesting implications, which I'll get to in a minute. But overall, I would say we haven't seen a whole lot that has come out of this whole brain size thing that people seem to be very focused on for whatever reason. But in this study, they actually wanted to look at not just brain size in between deer, but specifically along gender lines, which hasn't really been done a whole lot. So what they found was they actually looked at the measurements from 40 years, about 7 generations of deer, that there were specimens collected. And so they had brain size measurements on skulls of 1,314 deer over those 40 years. That's a pretty good start of a sample size. And they found a 63% variation among the deer on the island overall in the brain size. It's a pretty big difference. It's quite a range. And they found that females with larger brains on the whole lived longer. They also produced more offspring that managed to live to become adults themselves, and their offspring on the whole had larger brains. What was really interesting, though, is that there were no discernible differences between males with brains of different sizes. So the brain size only really mattered for the females. They were unable to find any downside to larger brains in deer of either gender, which usually there's some sort of trade-off. So that was particularly interesting. And they expected to see things like weaker immune systems, fewer offspring, because it takes more energy to make a bigger brain. But they did not see that in this study. And their hypothesis for why this wasn't the case for the males is that there's other factors that maybe overpower the brain size factor, and their suggestion would be physical strength, agility, something related to competition between the male deer that would be more important than larger brain size. So the larger brains on the females, if correlated with intelligence, which again is fuzzy,
Questionable. Yeah.
that might mean that they were better able to find food, more easily able to deal with stressful situations, get babies away from predators, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
In deer, I mean, the mother hangs out with the baby
Mhm.
for a fairly long time. And so if the mother has a larger brain and is involved in the survival of the offspring more than the male who comes in, delivers some seed and then takes off, male bucks, the deer, they're not hanging around taking care of the offspring.
no, and they're just
No.
fighting with each other for a lady,
Yeah.
doing what they need to do with that lady and heading out. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The
So
life of a young buck.
right. And so it's potentially, the genes for survival that the buck passes on
Mhm.
are definitely important. But I would imagine that the interplay between the ability of the mother to keep the offspring alive and the environment is going to be a huge, huge impact. So this actually makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes
Bigger
sense.
brained
although, again,
female, and also if you look at brain size, bigger brained female means a bigger female who can be like, step off.
That is a great point that they did not mention in here at all. Is they did. I don't know if they controlled the brain size to the body size
Yeah.
statistically. I don't know.
Yeah, because that would just be then a physical trait, not a mental trait.
Right.
But
Which again
if it is
is fuzzy.
if it is just brain size, I mean, again, this goes back to like basic morphology science, where we used to based on the size of your cranium, you must be this smart, right? Like it's
yeah.
the
Oh,
correlation's
absolutely.
interesting. I would like to see if it exists anywhere else other than with these deer.
Right, absolutely. And that's why this is, in the first study of this type, it is potentially a open door for other studies like it. I think that it's a good reminder that there are vastly different things that select for fitness between males and females of species that have different roles for those sexes. And so whenever you do a study amongst a species, that's a factor that you need to control for, and that's a factor that you need to look at. So I think that that's a good reminder, which is directly related to my next story,
Dun, dun, dun.
which is about male and female stress responses and different responses to diseases.
Mhm.
So looking at fruit flies, our favorite little laboratory animal,
They're just like people.
they're just like people. Yeah. USC, we're looking at male and female fruit flies and how they respond to stress caused by a common oxidant, hydrogen peroxide, and another oxidant, paraquat. So these two oxidants they both occur naturally, hydrogen peroxide more than paraquat, and they have been implicated in human diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and they also are found often in patients suffering from a stroke, heart attack, a lot of things that we personally have a vested interest in figuring out, right?
Mhm.
And the paraquat is actually an environmental toxin that can damage neurons, and it attacks the nervous system. So all these oxidants, they're things that create stress in our bodies. Knowing the way that we respond to that and how we can reduce certain responses that are detrimental would be a good thing. And they found that fruit flies, on the whole, have similar reactions to these oxidants and oxidative stress as humans, as we would expect, because they're just like humans. But what they found was that there were sex-based differences in these biological responses. The oxidative stress from the hydrogen peroxide, that actually was reduced in female flies. The female flies could adapt to hydrogen peroxide exposure. Male flies could resist paraquat. To control for the role of sex, the researchers actually genetically manipulated male flies to develop into pseudo-females with female body characteristics. And the pseudo-female flies adapted to hydrogen peroxide and not paraquat. So they had the same resistance as natural female flies. Their idea for why this happened would have to do with an extra version or an isoform of a protein that varied in size compared to the isoform shared between the sexes. And so the sex-specific expression of that protein has also been observed in mouse tissue, so it would relate directly back to this idea that males and females express this protein differently.
Mm-hmm.
One of their ideas about why this happens is because mitochondria, inherited from our mother, that is directly related to a person's response to hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that females would evolve better response to hydrogen peroxide because it's a normal signaling molecule produced by the mitochondria, which is pretty interesting. So essentially, men and women, they're different. So the reason I bring this up is it's very interesting, but the implications here are that in medicine and in medicinal trials, there might be situations where we need to be paying more particular attention to male patients and female patients because biologically we can respond differently to stressors in our body.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we already know that there are many instances where women respond differently to drugs that pharmaceutical companies have put together. And over the years, women have not been well represented in the clinical trials for many drugs that we use to treat diseases or even just minor illnesses. And so I just had this conversation on Twitter a couple of days ago, and the FDA and the science organizations in the United States are working very hard to try and increase the number of women in clinical trials because and also the number of female mice that are used in the earlier trials to know something off kilter before we get to the point of testing primates. You know?
Yeah. Why would you ruin a breeder mouse that could make you more lab mice on a trial? Why would you do that? Oh, wait, because you need to test females and males. I think it's particularly interesting because people always want to blame hormones on the differences between men and women.
It's not just hormones, but this is
important. It's an important part.
It's a very important part.
It's very influential, but there are basic chemical differences in our proteins.
That's really interesting. And this is a very interesting point. I'd love to find out how this does translate from the fruit flies to the human diseases that they're discussing in this related to Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's. You know, I would love to see how that translates. Because all right,
stay tuned.
Fruit flies, but let's move it forward and see.
This is a fantastic hint for some future studies. I look forward to the news that comes out of this.
Yeah. Great. Do you have one more study?
I'm going to save it for the end of the show.
All right.
My pea fishing lines are going to have to wait. So stay tuned.
Anglers.
Oh, you know what? I'm so happy you're taking that science, you're putting it in the little Ziploc baggie, zipping it up. Come on.
Just be sure to listen to all the clicks. You don't want those pea fishing lines getting out.
No, there's nothing greater than science for later. And we're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, we will have that science that we've saved for you, the special science, and it's going to be so good. So this is This Week in Science. Stay tuned for more.
Explain the things you heard with more than intuition. The line of reason shows the way to go. No solution. The methods, a hypothesis, and patience are the only things I need.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to TWIS. I do hope that you are having a wonderful December, and I hope that the lead up to the holidays is not stressing you out, that you're breathing, you're enjoying, you're just having a wonderful time in this wonderful time of the year. You know, we have calendars. We do. We have lots and lots of calendars for you. And if you're interested in finding out more about that, you can go to TWIS.org. And if you go to TWIS.org, you'll be able to find links to be able to purchase the 2017 TWIS. Blair's Animal Corner calendar, Blair's art. It's amazing. This calendar is wonderful. People have already started getting their calendars, sending pictures of themselves with their new calendar. It's great. Send us a picture when you get your calendar. We'd love to see you. And where are you going to hang your calendar? What are you going to do with the calendar? I love this one. It's pretty. All these wonderful, this calendar, it's full of science holidays for you to observe throughout the year. So every month there's something new and exciting, science-y for you to celebrate, to pay attention to. And it also lets you know when TWIS is happening. It's every Wednesday, but at 8 p.m. But we put it in the calendar. So it's there on your calendar as an appointment for every week of the year. Thank you, Blair. It's perfect design. I love it. And Blair did want us to sell out by her birthday, and we have not sold out. So let's get these calendars out of here. Come on. Blair had a birthday. You need to buy a calendar. Go to twist.org to be able to get yourself calendar. That's right. And additionally, if you would like to meet us in San Francisco, we're going to be in San Francisco for the SF Sketchfest on January 19th. And we are going to be at the California Academy of Sciences. If you go to SF Sketchfest 2017, go to the schedule and look for January 19th, SF Sketchfest Nightlife at the California Academy of Sciences, and click buy your tickets. Buy those tickets. You must be over 21 to attend. It's $15 for the tickets, and that'll get you access to the entire nightlife from 6 to 9 p.m. on the 19th. We'll be in there somewhere, but there's a lot of stuff going on. It is a big lineup, and I'm very excited to be a part of it. I think it's going to be so much fun. But get your tickets because it's going to sell out, and we want to see you there. I don't want other people's fans there. I want TWIS fans there. So get on it. If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, get your tickets. Make sure you buy them for January 19th. Meet us at the aquarium at the California Academy of Sciences. You need to do this. You do.
And bring your calendar. I'll sign it.
Yeah, bring your calendars. If you have a calendar, bring your calendar. We'll sign the calendars. It's so great. That'll be awesome. If you do want to support TWIS, it is the season of giving. You can do that by going to twist.org. There are donate buttons on the website. Make it nice and easy to donate. You can also click on our Patreon link, which will take you to our Patreon page where, again, it's a nice big button. Click on the button, become a patron, and support us in this wonderful season of giving if you are able. If you are unable to give financially and help produce this show financially, help produce the marketing. Help us get the word out about TWIS. Tell people about TWIS. We really could use your help tweeting and Facebooking and any other Instagramming. Get us out there. Help us tell the world about TWIS. It really, really does help. But whatever. We're glad you're listening to the show. We're glad you're watching the show, if that's what you're doing. Thank you for being a part of the show. And thank you for supporting us. We really could not do this without you.
Black ink, never even bothering to stop and think. The only real
power that I do believe is the dollars and cents all these authors receive. If miracle wonders were held in their looks.
And we are back with more This Week in Science.
Yes, we are. Justin, tell me a story.
Metaphors are the legs of human language. In the right hands, they give ideas wings and help us fathom a sea of information.
Ha!
And so,
I just got that. I was a little slow on the pickup there.
so it may not be too surprising that metaphors act upon our brains in ways that actually put thoughts into action. When participants in the study heard sentences that included phrases such as shoulder responsibility, foot the bill, or twist my arm, they tended to engage a region of the brain called the left extrastriate body area, or EBA, literally feeling metaphorical phraseology in the brain. The finding, recently published in Brain Language, is an example of grounded cognition, the idea that comprehension of abstract concepts in the brain is built upon concrete experiences. A proposal, apparently, that extends all the way back to Aristotle. First came up with this concept. Interesting. Which we wouldn't have heard of if that information hadn't been secreted away and saved for later. The same level of activation was not seen in participants who heard literal sentences containing phrases with a similar meaning, such as take responsibility or pay the bill. This study included 12 right-handed English-speaking people. It's not a huge sample size, but still significant enough for this study. They monitored the blood flow in their brains through MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. The EBA is part of the extrastriate visual cortex. This is Cody Voice. And it was known to be involved in identifying body parts, says senior author Krish Sathian, MD, PhD, professor of neurology, rehabilitation medicine, and psychology at Emory University. We found that the metaphor selectivity of the EBA matches its visual selectivity. The EBA was, interestingly, not activated when study participants heard literal, non-metaphorical sentences describing body parts. The phrase comfortable footwear does not act upon the brain the same way as getting your foot in the door might.
Mm. Your foot in the mouth.
Or putting your foot in your mouth.
Putting your foot in your mouth, yeah.
Yeah, this suggests that deep semantic processing is needed to recruit the EBA over and above routine use of the words for body parts, Sathian says. Sathian's research team had previously observed the metaphors involving the sense of touch, such as a rough day, activate a region of the brain important for sensing texture. In addition, other researchers have shown that motion-related metaphors engage parts of the brain involved in the motor control or in the perception of movement. Relative to those previous findings, researchers were surprised to find that body part metaphors did not tend to activate areas of the brain linked to the motor control or sense of touch in this study. It's a negative result, but just because we didn't detect signals with these brain imaging methods doesn't mean that cellular connections don't still exist, Sathian says. Brain and Language paper includes analysis of resting state connectivity, showing that the EBA appears to communicate with language processing areas of the brain, even while someone is not listening to a metaphor. Follow-up research could test whether magnetic stimulation of the EBA interferes with processing of body part metaphors.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, mess it up. Use transcranial magnetic stimulation and just mess it up, and then see if people understand. Yeah.
Well, because it's interesting because there's one reported case of damage in the brain, including the EBA. The affected person was impaired in using body part words to refer to inanimate objects. So they couldn't conceive of the teeth of a comb, the arm of a chair, the leg of a table. They stopped being able to comprehend that or utilize that language. Not only making metaphors harder to swallow, but also understanding the meaning of hand gestures becomes difficult in people who have impairments in this region. Research on metaphor comprehension is also being used to create rehabilitation approaches for people who have had strokes or traumatic brain injury affecting their ability to process language. So they sort of literally walk them through, or metaphorically walk them through exercises that engages parts of their body to metaphors when they're using language. Very interesting. One thing that this sort of story, and I wish I had a LexisNexis, because I listen to probably far too much of the political rhetoric that is used in language today, but I would love to search for the phrase shoved down our throat or rammed down our throat, and run it through and see how many times and how often it's used in political rhetoric. Because everything from they are trying to ram PC language down our throat to Obamacare down, like this is something that's a very common trope that's used over and over again. And I'm like, in light of this, what are they doing to their audience? What is it that they're evoking in their audience every time this phraseology is used? But so fascinating to think that
defensive mechanisms for sure.
And how long is it? And is that build that sort of visceral, throatal reaction in these people going forward? But it's really fascinating to think that that metaphors and the brain are so uniquely linked that our language. Thinking back, our origin of our language could have just started as a series of metaphors to describe things, for it to be so ingrained in our language and in our brain's reaction to language.
It makes me wonder if aliens have different metaphors.
I mean, different languages have different metaphors. Like, we say none of your beeswax, but in French you say none of your onions.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Pull yourself up by your tentacle straps. I don't
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. I have a question, Justin.
Yes, I have the answer.
No, I don't. Why don't you have a penis bone?
Well, at the moment, actually.
Oh boy.
What's the question?
Oh boy.
The baculum. Mm-hmm. The baculum is a penis bone, and it exists sporadically.
A lot of mammals.
In a lot of mammals and primates, but it's not consistent. Mm-mm. The animals that have it, it's kind of like it shows up some places and then it disappears. And there's been a question of why does it show up and then why did it go away? Why do we have the penis bone in some animals? Humans, we do not have a penis bone. Men do not have a penis bone, even though there are other primates that have very significant bacula.
Is that? I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting question as to why humans don't have it. So some researchers at Matilda Brindle and Kit Opie at University College London looked at the animals that had it, and they did an analysis of all the animals, mammals, primates that have this penis bone, and they found that this bone is longer, it's bigger in males that engage in prolonged intromission. And I'm not saying intermission, intromission.
Pray tell, what is that?
It means that they have sex for longer than 3 minutes. Copulation, penetration, lasting for more than 3 minutes.
Huh.
The strategy of prolonged intromission is one that works in many species where there is a lot of male mate competition, because the male remains with the female and physically keeps other males from being able to mate with the female, and thus ensures his parentage of the offspring. So it basically is, they think that this bone, this baculum, is related to mate competition in males.
So wait, I don't mean to interrupt this.
Okay.
But the threshold is 3 minutes? Like, who came up with 3 minutes? like as being prolonged. I just like how did like based on what sex where were they considering 3 minutes is prolonged? Is it just the researcher who coined this and was like the first researcher to look into this?
Yeah.
Was like
3 minutes is
3
fine.
minutes.
It's average. No,
That is
Justin.
prolonged.
Justin, I would guess it's based on what like ancient Homo sapiens did.
No, we don't know that though.
I don't believe sex was as pleasurable for women back then as it may be now, or consensual as it may be now. So I think that maybe has something to do with it. But let's hear the rest of the story.
I don't know if I buy that even, but okay.
But what the interesting result that they came out with is so like I said, this bone is longer. It's a bigger bone in males who have longer acts of copulation, where they actually stay in the female longer. It's a longer bone. This bone helps them to maintain this.
Pornographic terminology for that is woodsman.
In chimpanzees, this bone is very, very short. It's like the length of my fingernail short. It's very tiny. And chimpanzees do not spend a long time mating. And according to The Guardian, the chimpanzee groups, females actually minimize the amount of time that they mate with any one male, but they make sure that they mate with all the males to ensure the survival of their offspring. Because if the males can't figure out who the father is, they're likely to assume that they might be the father. And so the males in a social group are therefore less likely to kill any offspring.
Yeah.
And so the female's like, all right, let's get this done quickly. So it's suggested in this article that humans may have lost this bone as a result of monogamy that emerged as a dominant reproductive strategy during about 1.9 million years ago, during the time of Homo erectus. And sorry, humans, we really haven't required, and at least in the social groups with monogamy, that reduces mate competition. And so the idea is that humans really haven't had to have a prolonged intromission. Mm-hmm. And so thus, no need for...
But again, we're talking about 3 minutes. Maybe we just didn't need one. Like, nature finds a way, right? Like, it doesn't...
There's another interesting study, though, that just came up, but although this doesn't track with the 1.9 million years ago, it is very possible that maybe when we were, our ancestors, the Australopithecus afarensis ancestors of about 3.6 million years ago, that they may have had a baculum. It's very possible. New footprints have been found from an archaeological site in Laetoli in northeastern Tanzania. They found 14 footprints that add to a set of 70 tracks that were originally uncovered by Mary Leakey in around 1978. And these prints are part of the evidence that humans walked on two legs. But additionally,
that would be very impressive if you also had evidence of a baculum from the footsteps.
Not a baculum, but the footprints themselves, with the sizes of the footprints, suggest that the individual suggest that one of the individuals was more than 5.5 feet tall, may have been a male, and that the other individuals were smaller and shorter, and that the males, and this is suggesting that males and females had different body types, sexual dimorphism, and that there was a social structure more like that of gorillas, with 1 or 2 males and a harem of females. So maybe we should be looking for a baculum in the afarensis.
All right. Well, I'll still wait until they are going through the skeletal remains and be like, we've got an extra part here. Where does it go? Like,
Where
none of
does
that
it
happens.
go?
I'm
Although
not-
if it's a harem, he still wouldn't need a baculum.
True. Not necessary. Right. He would still not have he wouldn't necessarily. Exactly. It wouldn't be the mate competition. You're right.
Also,
Yeah.
I think there's more people than there are apes or things with baculums. Well, I don't know what all. the
Lots
things
of
are.
animals have baculums.
But I think there's a lot
Bacula.
of us.
Excuse me.
Bacula,
Yes.
yeah.
Otters have bacula. I did a story years ago now about otter bacula shrinking. Bats have bacula. It happens.
It happens. And they vary in size and shape.
Sea lions have bacula.
Yeah, they vary all over the place, from the length of a finger to 2 feet long. But humans don't have it at all.
Yeah.
And so maybe we can look at this as, reduce our social pressures on us. I'm just going to stop talking now, but before I say something too incriminating. But anyway, yeah, the disappearing baculum.
I'm curious. Now I want to know what it was. If you had just left it at that, but now I'm like, well, what is it, Kiki? But I'll let you off that.
Yeah. So anyway, this is some of the first really good evidence that actually it's really good evidence supporting this prolonged intromission hypothesis for the purpose of the baculum.
And again, I have issues with the hypothesis that the hypothesis is based on, because just because somebody said 3 minutes is a long time.
And this is what I'm saying. Maybe we don't need to have all this social pressure. Maybe if 2 minutes, that's fine. A minute, that's great. Why do we laugh at this?
What's the social pressure? What are you talking about, Kiki? Is there social pressure for this?
You were just bringing it up yourself. I'm going to drop my keyboard. Sorry. All right. I'm done with my stories here. Justin, do you have another story?
No, I saw the abundance of stories that the two of you brought, and I thought, well, I'm just going to bring a few because there looks like there's a lot to. I saw a huge rundown at the end of this show.
There are some awesome stories out there, and I didn't even put all of them in the rundown.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Okay. Let me run into gravity. You guys want to hear about? You want to hear about his gravity story? So last week, I talked about the survey, the Deep Sky survey, the kids analysis. And we were talking about how the universe. You weren't here, Blair, but there's a story where the basic report that comes out of it is that the universe is not as clumpy as a result of dark matter. That dark matter might be spread out a little bit differently, and so we have a smoother universe.
Not clumpy.
Yeah, we don't have as much of it's not as clumpy of a universe. Well, out of this, the same set of data, these researchers, there's a group of researchers from, where are they from? They've published in the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, some astrophysicists at the University of Sydney we've got Australian astronomers. We've also got European astronomers that are working on this. But they actually tested the idea that Eric Verlinde has come up with, his hypothesis on gravity that does not involve dark matter as a basic correction factor for the equations that are involved. He's come up with some new equations in which gravity acts through kind of a dark gravity force. The dark force. But this is for the first time they've used this same data set, this kids analysis. They looked at around 33,000 galaxies. Margot Brewer at Leiden University in the Netherlands used weak gravitational lensing, very similar to the study that I talked about last week, to look at the mass of the galaxies that were picked up in this kids survey. And they ran the numbers for Verlinde's theory and also the theory that involves the calculations using dark matter in the calculations. And they both worked. Verlin's theory solved everything and came out with basically matched the data. So they measured the mass of these galaxies and then plugged it into the theory, and the theory worked. And so they tested the theory against the data, and this new kind of unproven idea of Eric Verlin's that we've talked about before worked. Dark matter was not necessary for it to accurately estimate the distribution of gravity in these galaxies. That doesn't say that this is like, woo, this is it. This is a new thing. We don't need dark matter, blah, blah, blah. You know, there were lots of assumptions. There were fudge factors involved in the measuring, in the distribution of the galaxies and all sorts of things. But what it says is that this is evidence in the direction that suggests people might want to look a little bit more at this theory.
Well, and I think part of, and I don't know enough about this. I would love to have Eric on the show to explain this to us. But it seems like we're almost like F equals ma works. You know, we understand mass equals gravity, distribution, things like. I think that anybody who's in this realm can make the galaxy turn out the way it should based on what we know about the interactions of mass in the universe. But the fudge factor there is, what do you allow for the mechanics of it? Like, what do you allow to make it happen?
Yeah.
And you can have different theories on it because we don't know what it is.
Yeah, and so
I don't necessarily think that, yeah, like you're saying, like that Eric Verlin's the fact that his worked doesn't surprise me. But what's the mechanism again? And like that's the thing. That's still the puzzle. Like we've got correlations of gravity. We know how gravity operates in a sense. We can predict things with it, but we don't have the mechanism. We don't know how it's doing.
Yeah, but I think with Eric Verlin's idea, he uses gravity as more of an emergent phenomena of space-time as opposed to
what does that mean?
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's a force that emerges as opposed to actually being a particle.
Right.
So
what I like about his
there
take
are
on
different ideas about it. Yeah, the equations are different.
The equations are different, but it's sort of like how Einstein back engineered the arc change. The arc change was known from gravitational lensing. It had been witnessed. It had been recorded. What he did was actually back engineer why that happens. You know, so it wasn't like the big discovery is if it's off by this many arcs when we see gravitational lensing, then the equations are correct. Actually, he had access to this amount of arc change that was going to take place and built his equations based on that backwards. They're both everybody's building on the universe as we see it backwards. And so the universe as we see it will remain the same in every take every run that we make at this. But what's interesting, I think, in this is that he may have eliminated the necessity of creating an extra factor. And whenever you can eliminate the need for an extra factor in the way that you see things, it's probably more correct. When you don't have to have, I think dark matter.
The more simplified it is, that maybe the more simplified it is, maybe the more correct it is. We do not know this yet at all. And like I said, the researchers in the abstract, they even say, although this performance is remarkable, this study is only a first step. Further advancements on both the theoretical framework and observational tests of emergent gravity are needed before it can be considered a fully developed and solidly tested theory. And because there are still things that this idea cannot predict that the conventional model does. So there's still things missing in it, but that doesn't mean. So it's exciting that this first test of an what I'm loving is this is where physics goes from theoretical physics to experimental.
Yeah.
And this is where it starts getting exciting. So I hope there are more experiments like this that really try and test the mettle of Verlin's emergent gravity ideas. All right, Blair, tell me about some fishing line.
Oh, so have you guys heard of the glowworms in New Zealand?
No.
I've heard of glowworms before, but not
Yeah,
New
It's
Zealand
like a
special.
thing you buy for your kids. It makes glows. It's like a little teddy bear.
Yeah, so I hear glowworms, and I think of this toy that I had as a child that I'm going to screen share to you. But glowworms are actually the larval stage of an insect that lives in New Zealand, and they have bioluminescent properties, and they live in these caves. And so tourists go to these caves to experience the glowworm caves, because apparently it's supposed to be otherworldly. I had a coworker who went a few months ago and she was very impressed with it. But one of the things you're supposed to do is apparently you could float in the water in these caves and look up at the glowworms. And she thought that was kind of gross, so she didn't do it. And then now I found out a little more about these little glowworms, and I'm going to have to tell her that was a good call. So Arachnocampa luminosa, the glowing maggot, is an animal that they bioluminesce, and they have these little fishing lines that they use to catch their prey. Their prey are insects usually. And where spider webs have sticky substances that have animals get caught up in them, they also are usually hydrophobic. That's why you see the dew kind of bead up on the web, and the web doesn't soak up all the water and fall. But the larvae of these glowworms actually have a special thread with adhesive droplets that form a sticky curtain, which is how they catch their insects. There, you're going to show a picture. Perfect. But they actually are absorbent. So the adhesive droplets, they think that they actually pull up water to the glowworm so that they can stay wet in this kind of damp air so that they avoid desiccation. But where this really gets interesting is that they now they think that the glowworms secrete the fishing lines from their mouth parts. Remember, spiders spin silk from abdominal glands. So they think they come out of their mouth. And the line's adhesive droplets actually have mineralized crystals of urea, which means they're most likely produced in the midgut, and that urea is primary urine. So they're barfing up.
Yeah, they're vomiting their urine, and it's creating this string that allows them to act as a straw to suck up water.
Yes, and also catch food. This is a new kind of bioadhesive that we have not previously observed. It contains water, hydroscopic salts, and biomolecules like proteins and lipids. So this is an interesting finding. It also, I think, puts very interesting light on the tourist events that happen in glowworm caves. If you do a Google search on glowworm caves, you'll see people with their faces right up next to the glowworm strands, and you'll see people getting married in the glowworm caves in their beautiful fancy clothes, or models in front of the glowworms in the caves. You're like, those are pea strands.
They are very pretty crystals, though.
They are.
The crystals in the strands that come out, they're very pretty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you, Kiki, do you want to quickly talk about talking monkeys?
I would love to talk about talking monkeys. Well, we know monkeys don't talk. They hoot and they holler, right? And there's been this, it's a common wisdom that the reason that other primates don't talk is that they don't have the right mouth parts, their lips, their jaws, their larynx. None of it is structured appropriately to allow them to make the sounds that we make, to enunciate in the way that we do.
But you're about to tell me something completely different, aren't you?
Yep. Yes, I am. Researchers at the University of Vienna and Princeton University used x-rays. Yeah, just x-rays to look inside the monkey's vocal tracts. And they found that, vocal anatomy is not the limitation.
Wow.
Anatomy is not the limiting factor. This thing that we've thought forever, monkeys can't talk because the structure is wrong. That was wrong. It's the brains. It's monkey brains. It's all in the brain because the anatomy is flexible enough to allow these animals to make the sounds and use their anatomy in a way that they could produce the sounds that we do.
So I could genetically engineer a monkey with more folds in its brain, and then I could teach it to talk. Like I could actually have a conversation with the monkey.
Yeah,
My favorite is that they actually used a computer model to try to figure out what it would sound like.
And it was like this. This is what it sounded like, just like this.
No, but it is terrifying. Kiki, can you play it? No? I can do it, baby.
Hold on. Yeah, let me see if I can find it. You go ahead and talk, and
okay.
And I will
so
see if I
of
can,
course,
if I can play it.
Of all things to choose to have the computer simulation say, what do you think they picked?
They always pick very odd things for monkeys to
I
say.
think the monkey wants
Very
a banana.
human
Is that what the monkey
things.
wants? Is the monkey asking for a banana? Or is the monkey like, you know what? I'm tired of being a monkey, all this hanging around, and there's got to be a better thing.
They decided to have them say, here, I might be able to pull it up on my phone faster.
No, I've got it.
Okay, you got it. Excellent.
Be a monkey or not be a monkey. That is
I don't even want to tell you. I want you to hear it.
Can you hear it?
I heard it.
Play it again? I didn't hear it.
Oh, you just talked over it.
It's too quiet. Can't hear it.
I
He's
can't
saying-
make it
Busting up over there, but I can't
He's
hear it.
saying-
any louder. Yeah.
He's saying, will you marry me?
It's the creepiest sound
Will you marry me?
proposal. Yeah.
It's I'm gonna hear that in my sleep now.
Will you marry me?
Here. Oh my
You
God.
can make it louder.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty throaty. Yeah, actually, a little bit lower register than I would have expected.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
terrifying.
The big question is, we've always said, okay, humans, speech, we can talk to each other, right? This is a big part of our
Just got lucky.
evolution. But at what point did speech begin? Because if monkeys could have started talking at any point with, a little click in the brain to start making the right vocalizations, at what point did we start speaking? Was it at the baculum loss stage? Was it when we were still acting like
Baculum?
gorillas?
Hey, look, I know I haven't really mentioned anything for a while, but I was whatever. But I was wondering if you could help me find something. I seem to have lost it. I've been looking for a long time, but I still can't seem to find it.
I was thinking more that it was something along the lines of, I'm sorry, baby, this never happens.
This never happens. Oh dear. Well, yes. Okay. So speech could have started at any point. Wow, when did it start? Let's talk about some of these other quick stories. I've got so many amazing stories that I wanted to talk about. Researchers reporting in the Proceedings of the Royal Society B have been looking at the effects, the biological impacts of atmospheric rivers. California is very used to these atmospheric rivers. They're conditions in which basically there's a river of moisture in the atmosphere, and it's shunted very rapidly across the coastal area. The water dumps. California, and when these atmospheric rivers come through, usually it can get up to half of the state's annual rainfall in about 10 to 15 days during these events. They've been linked to flooding and all sorts of problems for people, but what about other biological effects? They've found that the effects on reducing salinity of water in the coastal areas as the water comes out of the mountains, down rivers, through the estuaries, that it has an impact on oysters. Basically, oysters die off when there are atmospheric rivers back to back, because oysters are very sensitive to salinity levels, and the water from the atmospheric rivers dilutes the estuary salinity, and then the oysters die. So atmospheric rivers, great for water for the state, not so good for oyster fisheries.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of interesting.
It's also something that happens in your local area, I think. In the Portland area, there's so much rain that it can be hard to have a decent garden because the nutrients are constantly getting washed out of the soil.
Right, exactly. You have to add a lot. You have to add fertilizers to be able to keep things growing. Yeah. Rain, water, what a the good and the bad. For the future of little tiny starships or even big starship computers, one of the big effects that we worry about is the loss of data or damage to data from radiation effects on the circuitry of the computers, right? So it's this thought that as circuits get smaller and smaller, even little tiny subatomic particles that are cosmic rays and stuff that are flying through space that go right through the hull of a ship could smash into these little conductors, right? Our computer chips, as they get smaller and smaller, and just mess them up, right? They won't work anymore. Computers won't work. Data won't be collected. It'll be a mess. How are the starships going to travel long distances if the computers are breaking down, right? So researchers have come up with a way to address this, and it is a self-healing chip. They use what they call a gate-all-around nanowire transistor, and this uses nanoscale wires as the transistor channel instead of other fin-shaped channels. And there's a gate. This controls the flow of charge through the channel. It's an electrode, and it just goes on or off to control flow on. You have flow off, you do not. And it just surrounds the nanowire all the way around. And so by adding an extra contact to this gate, you can actually pass current through it. This current heats the gate and the channel. And this heating can actually fix any radiation-induced effects. And a member of the NASA team who worked on this, Jin Woo Han, says on-chip healing has been around for many, many years. But what they're hoping is that heating can drive the recovery of radiation sensors. We've got heat-induced healing of flash memory by a company out of Taiwan. And so this could actually allow tiny transistors on spacecraft to work and heal themselves. And this gate-all-around device is expected to go into really high production by about the 2020s. when it will be starting to be preferred by chip producers. And so it's as chips get smaller and smaller. But anyway, self-healing silicon chips.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
This is how it starts.
Might solve that problem, which would be great.
That's what I want, a self-healing robot. Great.
And the silicon chip inside a head was switched to overload. All right. The EPA has rewritten their final fracking report, and it's a little bit more cautious than their original report. So they had a 4-year effort to summarize environmental risks of fracking. And the original summary, the draft, was kind of rosy. It was like, it's not really that bad. There are instances of contamination. And anyway, the final report has come through, and it has been changed to address reviewers' comments. It's great. And it's actually more conservative, and it's very positive, actually. And I think it's a document that will be used by the industry and by the regulatory agencies to move forward to allow fracking to continue to take place, but maybe in a better way. The report states, in the longer term, attention could be focused on reducing the data gaps and uncertainties identified in this report. Though through these efforts, current and future drinking water resources can be better protected in areas where hydraulic fracturing is occurring or being considered. So it's nice. I think it's a good report. Conservative is good in this sense. And something I wanted to note, which last week I was talking about briefly, or was last week or 2 weeks ago, talking about Oklahoma and earthquakes in Oklahoma being caused by fracking. It's not necessarily linked directly to fracking, but to the pumping of wastewater from fracking. So you have the wastewater that they pump back into the ground below the level of the aquifers.
Right.
Because it's dirty, dirty water and they want to get rid of it. And so that is the actual, just wanted to clarify.
I think we were on that point before.
Yeah.
I think we were.
Yeah. I just love the idea of, we'll just push it far down there.
Push it way far down.
It's like brushing the dirt under the carpet. Like, no one will find it. It's fine.
It's like what I do with my feelings.
Oh, Kiki.
No, I'm kidding.
It's still dumping. It's still dumping of waste.
It is. Yeah. It's a dumping of waste someplace where hopefully we'll never find it again.
Where they won't be responsible for it.
Yeah. And finally, some cool studies out in Science this week about zebra finches. I love zebra finches and bird song. Yeah. Meep, 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 meep. Meep, 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 meep. And researchers really still trying to figure out what's going on in learning song and what are the differences between, say, species specificity of the song. How do little birds know to sing their song, a species song versus another species song? If they're surrounded by other birds wherever they're growing up, why don't they sing any other songs, right? Also, what about the individual effects of, you want to have a really good song so that you can let a potential mate know that you're going to be a really good mate, right? So there has to be some kind of individual variation in there. Mm-hmm. So how does this all work? And there are 2 studies that came out in Science this week, and one of them looked at dopamine release in the ventral tegmental area. So this neuron activity. And in humans, this is the area where dopamine is associated with rewards and expectations. And humans, when you're, say, playing the piano, if you strike a note that's not right, dopamine release goes down. And so you realize there's an error because your dopamine release has changed. If your dopamine, if you get the right note or an expected note, then your dopamine release stays the same or increases. And so they played audio recordings of zebra finch song with some errors to these little birdies while they were measuring neuron activity. And when the songs were distorted or broken, the neurons stopped releasing dopamine. They stopped being activated, just like in the human brain. And if they heard the song without any errors, the neurons got activated again, like they were expecting. When it was without the error, they kind of went, "Oh, that was right," and dopamine release went up as more than it was predicted, because they were kind of expecting it to be an error again, and then it was not an error, and they went, "Ooh, I like that," and so the dopamine started getting released. So
it's that ape brain. It's the animal brain in charge of everything that we do.
Exactly. And so it's neat to see it at work in zebra finches. And so their performance, so individuals, maybe while they're learning and trying to repeat a song back that they've heard an older bird sing, when they hear an older bird go, diddle-dee, diddle-dee, and they try to go, diddle-dee, diddle-dee, and they get the song a little bit wrong. Maybe this is part of the system that gets them their performance to a higher standard, or not. But then the second study, researchers raised these zebra finches with Bengalese finch parents. So they were raised with a different species of finch, and then they paid attention to what was going on. And basically they found that it's not the songs that the birds sing, but the gaps between syllables in the songs. So it's silence. It's silence in the songs that helps birds recognize their own species' song and respond to it. There are neurons in the brain that respond to silent temporal gaps between songs, some syllables. There are specific neurons that register those gaps. Temporal gap neurons. And these neurons are probably very, very important in this species-specific song recognition, part of the instinct of what song a bird will learn. This is part of the imprint that a bird is born with. Specific neurons that respond to silence. Wow. Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense to me. I love it.
Yeah, so it's
like
not the notes themselves, it's the space between them.
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Whoa, man! It's almost like I'm seeing the lack of color in this painting, man. It's like so far out, man.
What are you talking about?
Like if you look in between the letters and the words, man, that's where the meaning is. Man.
You know,
Ladies
when
and gentlemen,
we come down to it.
Blair has apparently fallen into a San Francisco trope.
And this just after I saw a tweet from Jeannie from Boing Boing. Somebody did a study and found that the holidays, New Year's Eve, is when people tend to want to take LSD. So we're coming up to it. Oh, it's the empty spaces that are important in the world. Maybe this is why silence and reflection is so important. I hope that you don't fill your week up with too much noise between now and next week, because we've come to the end of our show, and I hope you enjoy the week gap that you get between each episode of This Week in Science. Don't forget, you can go to TWIS.org and get your TWIS calendar. There's only a few left. Get them now. Get them before they're gone. Seriously, they're going away quickly. And when we run out, we run out. So you got to get it now, people. TWIS.org, $20. There you go. And additionally, SF Sketchfest. Don't forget, January 19th. We're going to be at the California Academy of Science Nightlife. Check it out. Time to give shout outs to all of our Patreon sponsors. Chris Clark, Paul Disney, G. Burton Lattimore, John Ratnaswamy, Richard Onimus, Byron Lee, E.O., Jared Lysette, Kevin Parachan, Andy, Keith Corsell, Jake Jones, Ulysses Adkins, Derek Nickel, Dave Friedel, James Randall, Eric Schwalb, Bob Calder, Mark Nazaros, Ed Dyer,
I know, I can't jump in. I don't have the list.
Trainer 84, Brian Hedrick, Layla, Marshall Clark, Charlene Henry, Don Camarishka, Larry Garcia, Randy Mizuka, Tony Steele, Gerald Onyago, Steve DeBell, Haroon Sarang, Melissa Mosley, Alec Wilson, Jason Schneiderman, Greg Guthman, Dave Neighbor, Jason Dozier, Matthew Litwin, Eric Knapp, Jason Roberts, Richard Porter, Gerald Lambert, Rodney, David Wiley, Robert Aston, Darwin Hannon, Ben Rothig, Rudy Garcia, Nick Abassi, Felix Alvarez, Cosmic Gypsy, Brian Hone, Orly Radio, Brian Condren, Pixelfly, Marked, Nathan Greco, Hexator, Deborah Smith, Mitch Neves flying out, John Crocker, Christopher Dreyer, Sylvan Westby, Artyom Shuwata, Dave Wilkinson, Steve Mashinsky, Rick Ramus, Gary Swinsberg, Phil Nadeau, Braxton Howard, Salgood Sam, Matt Sutter, Emma Grenier, Philip Shane, James Dobson, Kurt Larson, Stefan Insom, Michael George, Russell Jensen, Mountain Sloth, Jim Drapeau, John Maloney, Jason Olds, James Paul West, Alec Doty, Illuma Lama, Joe Wheeler, Dougal Campbell, Craig Porter, Adam Mishkan, Aaron Luthen, Marjorie Paul Stanton, David Simmerly, Tyler Harrison, and Columbo Ahmed. Thank you for all your support on Patreon. And if you're interested in supporting us, you can find information at patreon.com/thisweekinscience. Remember, you can help us out just by telling your friends about TWIS. Tell 2 friends about TWIS this week. They will thank you. And on next week's show, we're going to be back broadcasting live online again at 8 p.m. Pacific time on twist.org/live, where you can watch and join our chat room. And we're going to have a guest, Karen Cooper, talking about citizen science.
Yes.
Yeah, she's written a book all about really neat citizen science stories. And I figured with the holidays coming up, let's have some good news about good things people are doing for science. And so I can't...
It's going to be up to us from now on.
It's all about it. It's all about it. Yes. But if you can't make it, don't worry. You can find that episode and all our past episodes at twist.org/YouTube or just twist.org.
Thank you for enjoying the show. TWIS is, of course, also available as a podcast. Just Google This Week in Science in your iTunes directory, or you can find it on your mobile type device. TWIS, the number 4 Droid app in the Android marketplace, or simply This Week in Science in anything Apple marketplacey.
For more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes will be available on our website, which I believe you can access from your mobile device at www.twist.org. There you can also make comments and start conversations with the hosts, as well as other listeners who may also be on a mobile device.
You can also contact us on your mobile device directly by emailing Kirsten at thisweekinscience.com or Kirsten at thisweekinscience.com, Justin at twistminion@gmail.com, or Blair at blairbaz@twist.org. Just be sure to put TWIS into the subject line of your mobile device, or your email will be spam filtered into oblivion. You can also ping us on the Twitter, where we are at Twist Science, at Dr. Kiki, at Jacksonfly, and at Blair's Menagerie. Your feedback, if there's a topic you would like us to cover or address, a suggestion for an interview, a haiku that showed up on your mobile device in the night, please let us know.
We will be back here next week, and we hope you'll join us again for more great science news.
And if you've learned anything from the show, remember,
just like John Glenn, it's all in your head.
This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand.
'Cause this week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth, and I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got one disclaimer, and it shouldn't be news, that what I say may not represent your views, but I've done the calculations and I've got a plan. If you listen to the science, you may just yet understand that we're not trying to threaten your philosophy. We're just trying to save the world from jeopardy. Jeopardy. And This Week in Science is coming your way. So everybody listen to everything we say. And if you use our method instead of rolling a die, we may rid the world of toxoplasma gondii. Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got a laundry list of items I want to address, from stopping global hunger to dredging Loch Ness. I'm trying to promote more rational thought, and I'll try to answer any question you've got. But how can I ever see the changes I seek when I can only set up shop 1 hour a week? This Week in Science is coming your way. You better just listen to what we say, and if you learned anything from the words that we said, then please just remember it's all in your head. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in 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 Science.
All right. We finished another episode. We have done this here. Yes, we have. What? What? Another show done. Another show bites the dust. Another show bites the dust. And another one done. Another one down. Another one down. Another one does. We did it. We did it. We'll do it again. Boxes. Who's got boxes? What are you talking about? Boxes? I have lots of boxes. My office is getting more and more filled with boxes. One box in particular, because I didn't want to carry it up another flight of stairs into the attic to store it. So it's sitting there. It's heavy. I was tired. Yeah, we are getting close to 600. Ben Rothig, we're almost 600. We had a really great 500 celebration. For 600, we will be, I think it's going to be our prediction show. Ooh, which I need. Hold on a moment. Not 600 monies. Sorry, 600 episodes. If we were close to 600 monies, that would make me happy also.
We're at 597 shows as of this show.
Yeah.
Wow. We've been
I know. It's been like 2 years since
No, we've been doing it longer than 2 years, Kiki. The time does
since our 500 episode celebration. It's been, I can't believe it's been 2 years.
Oh, there's Blair in a blonde wig. How did
Oh,
that
Blair
happen?
did it. Oh my God. This is what Blair would look like with a lot of hydrogen peroxide.
Oh my God. Don't my roots look fantastic?
Oh no.
I can't even see our roots, Blair. Oh my God.
Oh, it's like, it looks totally natural.
So natural, especially with those eyebrows. Oh my God.
I was born with this hair color. Can you believe it?
No. Oh my God.
Totally was.
Oh no.
We can't blame it. I love it.
I just can't stop touching it. It's just the funnest.
Blondes have more fun.
I totally do.
No. Oh my God. Oh my God. No, Karen. No. Brandon.
Oh, Karen is the worst.
The worst. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Gotta watch out for
That's
Karen.
populous.
What the heck?
What? All the people in San Francisco are blonde? That's not true at all.
Yeah, that actually almost couldn't be further from.
No, the blondes hang out in the marina.
That's true.
So you go to the marina in San Francisco, and that's where you see all the blondes with their ponytails and their running or workout. They're all wearing workout gear all the time. And they're either walking dogs or maybe sipping a coffee and pushing a stroller.
Do you guys like my birthday snail?
I love it.
Wait, turn it. We can't see it. It's
It's
Love
like
it.
that.
that's pretty cool.
Happy birthday! Is it a racing snail?
No, it's a normal snail.
I like racing snails.
What is that?
Are you kidding?
I don't know what a
Is there
racing
such a
snail
thing?
is.
Now races? Oh yeah, I think there must
The
be.
never-ending story.
Oh, right. I was just saying
The
to
racing
someone-
snails running and racing. The guy on the back of the racing
That's
snail.
right. I remember it now.
A
Yeah, I
great
was just saying to
racing
someone, I
snail.
haven't seen that movie since I was a child.
I have many times.
Oh my gosh,
I've seen it so many
Blonde.
times.
Blonde Blair has just gone viral on Facebook.
What?
Oh yeah, I love it.
They're all over.
What are you talking about?
Just so you know.
What? What are you talking about?
On
Shut
Facebook.
your GT face.
I don't see Blonde Blair on Facebook.
I don't either.
What are you talking about, Justin?
Yeah, so I got this notice it's for the show that apparently the screen capture of Blonde Blair captured for the show, or at least that's what it looks like in the feed.
Oh, in the feed. Aha. Got her in a
Anyway.
moment.
What?
So
What?
okay, now it's okay. You got plenty of likes. It's okay. You'll be fine. Everything's under control.
But I base my self-worth on my social media presence.
Yeah, no, there's a
So-
great what is the is it Dark Mirror? Is that I gotta go to Netflix and find out.
Dark Mirror. It's a
is that the show?
dystopian program.
It is, and there's one where people's like ability, their credit score, has been replaced basically by their social media score. So dark and hilarious, and you should, if you haven't seen that, it's the first episode of the 3rd season of Black Mirror. Yeah, it's of Black Mirror. Yeah, it's pretty dang good. It very much looks like where we're heading.
keep replaying this little sound that Identity 4 found. Justin, it's good. It's good.
What is it?
It's a little sound of you. I don't know if I can make it loud enough through my headphones.
Doing what? Is it?
Did you hear it?
It wasn't quite loud enough.
A little too quiet.
What was it from today's show? What was it?
Mm-hmm. It's you going. Boop.
Oh yeah, like my intro music. Like we are experiencing technical difficulties.
That's right.
Stay tuned.
Now, yeah. If I can use it and just put it on repeat for every time we need to have technical difficulties. Ah, look at this. School's canceled tomorrow. Everything's canceled. School's out for Thursday.
Why, raining?
Snow everywhere. At 9:30 p.m., roads are still solid red.
Oh my God.
There's like I think it was like a 2.5 hour drive between Clackamas and Vancouver, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's a great new wrinkle. Oh, like Identity 4 put it into chat room. I mean, yes, he did. So you can listen to the new Justin ringtone.
Oh no.
Download it and have the fun. Yeah, we got how many inches of snow today? We got several inches. It's white. The streets are white outside.
wow.
Everything's covered, blanketed in snow. I don't know if it's still snowing. Yeah, it is. Boom. It's a lot of snow. And Portland is just not set up for snow. We don't have
I'm
street
sorry, just
sweepers.
listening to Justin over and over here.
I know, right? That's what I was doing. I got totally distracted for a second.
You're not set up for snow.
Not set up for snow. There's no snow plows, really. I mean, we've got a few that can handle major roads, but they're not out yet. And yeah, the roads in Salem are white. Yeah, a lot more snow in Salem than here, I think, too. Rob the Strange. What for Salem? What? Yeah, and then nothing in Seattle. It's such an interesting storm, too, because it was a low pressure. I love watching weather reports. Love it. There was a low pressure system that was kind of south off of the coast of California, and it started coming through and pushing its way north, where normally storms come down from the north out of like the northern Pacific area and kind of come down along the coast. That's the normal weather pattern. This one was coming up from further down south. It's still really cold because of this kind of polar vortex offshoot that's come down over most of the United States. And so there's like, I think Portland basically was kind of, this area is like the cutoff of the storm and the snow range, not too much further north. It's fascinating. Changes in weather systems in between seasons and why things are moving different places. And then there was this whole thing where like, normally I think of winds coming from the west and going to the east, from the coast and moving inland. But because it was really cold inland, all of a sudden this cold air pushed through. And so yesterday it was kind of nice. And then it just like cold wind pushed in from the Columbia Gorge region. And we've got just this 50-mile-an-hour freezing winds. Now we've got 20-degree temperatures and snow. So it's weird. Weather.
It's really cold here too. It's 56 degrees.
Really, it's really cold, Blair.
It's really cold. I was like, I'm so cold.
Like
I had to wear a sweater and a coat. I was like, oh my God, I can't put on a hat. That'll mess up my hair.
Oh, blonde Blair. Oh, blonde Blair. You're so cute.
Oh, I know, right?
Right? Like, oh my
I
God.
should def go blonde for real.
Oh, deaf.
Oh, totes deaf.
Most deaf. He's a really good rapper.
I don't get it.
Why, guy? Oh my God, it's -4 degrees with the wind chill of -22.
Ooh, stay indoors.
I don't even understand that.
Don't go outside.
Winter. I'm just going to stay inside and look at the white stuff outside and shake my fist at old man winter.
What are you
Why
going to
is-
do with your son tomorrow?
Yeah, it means I'm not getting any work done.
You can stuff some more envelopes, right?
He'll help me mail calendars. We'll do a TWIS mailing run tomorrow because he likes doing that. He puts on his Christmas hat and we go to and he pretends that he's a Santa helper.
That's so cute.
It's very cute. It's very cute. Colder. Oh my gosh. Night, Fada. Oh my gosh. Colder than -22 wind chill. I can't even.
It's supposed to rain tomorrow.
Like Identity 4. Oh my God, it's so cold out. I had to wear pants and my eye patch. Brrr.
Yeah, there's gonna be water falling from the sky tomorrow.
Yeah. And Brandon, he's down in Southern California, right? You needed a jacket in the morning.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I was in Disneyland. It was jacket weather. It was weird.
Yeah, jacket weather. It is December.
Yeah.
Des Bohm says 19 inches in La Pine, 30 miles south of Bend. Yeah, you've gotten a bunch there. Oi, that's the snowy place. I think we got 3 inches. Maybe we got 4. Woohoo! Portland. Now everything's shut down and no kids go to school. Oh. We're going to keep our nasty weather here. And Blair is going to maybe have to deal with rain.
Yeah.
You know, rain makes it super humid. So you're going to have to watch out for those frizzies on your hair.
Oh no.
No.
Ugh. I can't have frizzies in my new coif.
Yeah. Oh, Fada is saying I could go to that coffee place. That is a great coffee place. Yes. Play. My child needs attention. He's an attention needy child. High of 3, Ben Rothig. Oh my goodness. White Rabbit Project. I don't know White Rabbit Project. What's White Rabbit Project? Is that a show I should be watching?
Mm-hmm.
I just finished what was the name of the show that I just recently stopped watching? Penny Dreadful.
Oh,
hey,
I've heard good things about that.
I
It's
just
good.
ran through the whole thing myself.
Yeah.
I heard
Very
it's
good.
scary, so I'm not watching it.
It's okay. Not that.
Not
I
really.
mean, it's all right. It's not. I thought Stranger Things was scarier.
Yeah, that was scary. This one
Stranger
wasn't
Things
so
was
much
too scary for me. It gave me nightmares.
This one was actually just I thought it was just fun as much as like, you know, there's like overly religious themes as there are sometimes too often are, and it's like but I love the fact that they tied in together or have thus far Dracula, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dorian Gray, Mr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like have brought them all into a plot line together, and it's not cartoonish.
It's not cartoonish, and it actually works. Yeah, it's well done.
I mean, it's a little, but it is well done. It is really well done. Worth watching.
I think so, and it's beautiful too. Absolutely
gorgeous,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back and watch it again. I keep having like I think I have a little crush on Vanessa Ives.
Yeah.
She was fantastic. Miss Ives. She's great.
And an incredible acting job.
Seriously, so the actress who plays Vanessa Ives can be
And
so
mind you, we won't give any
beautiful
spoilers here.
in some scenes and
And
so
then,
haggard and terrible looking
animal.
an animal.
Yeah, and you're like,
Whoa.
whoa!
Like
Who did they get to play her for that scene? Because that was wild.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that you've seen like good actors do between roles is transform themselves. So you're like, oh my gosh, it seemed like such a different person in this other role. But to be doing it within the same character, very impressive.
Yeah. Another actress who did that was it's another one that was only like 3 seasons and hasn't gone any further. It was a Netflix one. Black something.
Black
No,
Mirror.
not Black Mirror. It's the one about the genetic modification. Orphan Black. That's the one. Genetic modification of humans. Yeah. Great series. And the actress in that one also. Real ability to play different characters. It's good. The IT crowd. Eva
I love the
Green.
IT crowd.
Rourke's is cracking up at your hair.
It's seeping into my brain, you guys.
I know. You're going to take it off and there's still going to be some left.
Should I take an Insta photo?
Are we being in any way stereotyping or derogatory towards
Not at all.
'Cause I feel like there's
Absolutely.
a little bit of discrimination taking place. I just want to point that out.
It's a stereotype for sure. But coming from California, it's kind of, I don't know, I think of it as a very California stereotype.
Okay.
I don't know.
Should we be stereotyping women? I mean, should the 2 women on the show be actively involved in
don't you try to
stereotyping?
police my fun.
Thank you for asking that question. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm just saying there's 2, I don't want to say post-feminist women. I would say 2 feminist women on the show who are stereotyping a segment of women as having lower IQs. I just want to be the one to point that out.
Thank you.
Well, but it doesn't have to be all blondes. I just became a character when I put on this wig.
That blonde. No, I know. The vocal
Just like
fry.
I wasn't saying that all English safari men were nearsighted and got attacked by spiders.
I'm just teasing. It's okay, bud. You can have your fun. But you have to remain in vocal fry the whole time.
Okay.
Oh my god.
All right. If I have to.
Have you guys seen?
Because we're costumed up for it, is there a possibility I could get a little vocal fry Shakespeare from you?
All right, I'll look it up.
In the meantime, while you're looking something up, so along the vein of asking the tough questions about whether we should stereotype and all that other stuff, have you guys seen the video of the recent rewrite that's politically correct for current social sexual standards of "Baby, It's Cold Outside"?
No.
Is that even possible with that song?
Yeah,
it seems like one of those songs. Like
I recently called it the cutest song about date rape ever written.
Exactly, and so
it is date rapey.
It is a little bit, yes. And so a couple of artists have redone it and done a video where the woman sings basically the same, "I can't stay, I've got to go," all that kind of stuff. But the guy in the whole time is like, "Okay, I understand. It was a really nice date." Okay,
I understand if you've got to go. It's cold outside. Wear a jacket.
and then it's like so there's the "say what's in this drink" line, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's like a grapefruit. What's the sparkly water that everyone's drinking these days?
La Croix.
It's a grapefruit La Croix." So it's pretty funny.
Oh, that's great.
Why
I
are
mean-
you still here? I've got to get.
Should
some
I call
food.
you a cab?
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you have an Uber or a Lyft account? Because
It's pretty funny.
I'll call you one instead.
You guys want
okay,
a link to it? All
my
right.
couch
Yes.
goes out.
I found my favorite Shakespeare monologue. Are you ready for this? It's from A Midsummer Night's Dream. I believe, let's see. I don't know what part of it it's from. This is Helena. And she's real mad because, like, the love potion went awry. And so Hermia is, like, crushing on her man. And she's like, oh, no. So she says, lo, hold on. Lo, she is one of this confederacy. Now I perceive they have conjoined all three to fashion this false sport in spite of me. Injurious Hermia, most ungrateful maid, have you conspired? Have you with these contrived to bait me with this foul derision? What is a derision? Is all this counsel that we two have shared, the sisters' vows, the hours we've spent, when we have chide the hasty-footed what is chide? What is that word? When we have chide hasty-footed time. I guess that's because, like, they spent too much time. Again, she's really being redundant. For parting us. Oh, is that all I forgot? All school days friendship. Oh, I guess they used to be close. Childhood innocence. We, Hermia, like two artificial gods, have with our needles created both one flower, both on one sampler, sitting on one cushion. That is one flower that is well taken care of. Both warbling of one song, both in one key. As if our hands, our sides, our voices, our minds had been incorporate. Oh, wow, they were really close. So we grow together like to a double cherry, seeming parted, but yet a union in partition. Two lovely berries, the cherries again, now they're berries, I'm confused. Molded on one stem. So with two seeming bodies by one heart, two of the first like coats and heraldry. Oh, like they were soldiers in the field. But to one and crowned with one crest. And will you rent our ancient love asunder to join with men in scorning your poor friend? Now, see, now the boy is involved. Is it not friendly? 'Tis not maidenly. Our sex, as well as I, may chide you for it, though I alone do feel the injury.
Oh my God. We have to produce this, Kiki. My next
funny.
Christmas. Forget the calendar. I want an audio vocal fry Blair reads
Oh, wait.
Shakespeare.
I'll need a lot of lozenges.
Yeah, we'll start working earlier. We'll start working in spring. We'll provide you with lozenges and create. This could be like we can.
The wig
this as-
helps. I think the wig
Yeah.
really it gets
we'll
me in
package this as,
character.
like the vocal fry cliff notes. Yeah, although you're a little light on the fry tonight, I got to tell you, you could.
It's this character. She's more sassy and less fryish.
Yeah, you're a little sped up. You need to slow it down a little bit.
Also, my throat hurts. I have a cold.
Okay, that makes sense.
You can read.
I agree with Ben Rothig. That was the best thing ever, Blair. That was
Oh, good.
awesome.
You do the blonde. 'Twas the night before Christmas.
Oh, yes.
All through the house, not a creature was stirring. Not even a mouse.
I want to do that one again. We did a night before Christmas one and a disclaimer one, so I need to go find that. I kind of want to do it again.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like redundant if you're doing it again, but it might change the words up a bunch.
Let's see.
Which would
Stockings were
be-
hung by the
would be
chimney with
next week's
care in
show,
the hopes
actually.
that St. Nicholas soon would be there. But seriously, why would I put my stockings there by the fire? There's such a chance they'd get a run.
Yeah,
Seriously.
put a nail through 'em, yeah.
Oh, 12th night. That's another really good one.
Ooh.
It was the 12th night of Hanukkah. Everyone's out to the house. Everybody's like, it's over. What are you doing?
Oh. My computer's freezing on this
I,
Shakespeare
I
monologue site.
Can I tell you, I experienced
Can't handle
a-
the Shakespeare.
I experienced the Hanukkah miracle already this year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Your oil lasted for longer than expected?
Much longer. And in fact, the fact that it was there at all was impressive. So I'm looking, I'm like, I got this idea in my head, like, it would be so great to have a machine that could do like one-off little batches of deep frying. Like I want a deep fryer, but I don't have a lot of space in my counter. So I'm looking for a little tiny deep fryer. I'm going up and down the aisles of a store that should have it. I just don't see it anywhere. And so I gave up on the mission. And I'm walking down a different aisle. And there one is. And it's in between like pillows. Like somebody picked it up. Like the last one from wherever it was that I was looking for it and it wasn't there. And they put it in this aisle of pillows while I had just given up on looking for it. And there it was. And it's like smaller. It's like the size of a toaster. Right? And it's a little deep fryer. So I got this thing. And yeah, the oil has lasted for so far 11 meals. Right? Like, and I've done everything. I started out like, oh, we'll make French fries. Yeah, okay, French fries. That's cool. I got to learn how to batter things. Then I battered stuff. And I bought like asparagus. And I battered asparagus, put that in. And now I find you can throw everything. I put a casserole. I had some leftover casserole. I threw that in. Like you can throw anything into a deep fryer and it comes out like the fried food version of that. It's really incredible. Although, I have to warn, if you eat nothing but fried food for
Oh, no.
days,
You need Justin's poop pills?
you get a little gassy, is all I'm saying. It might not be long-term.
Your regular
sustainable.
Maccabee.
Yeah, might not be long-term sustainable there. But yeah, been eating a lot of fried everything that you could throw into a fryer.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently on the YouTube comments, there's like a chat on the YouTube
Mm-hmm.
live broadcast. There's a Kiki K who's just popped in to say, if anyone has a second, please check out my channel, Twerking, Naked Talk, Trying Food, Story Time, and other fun stuff.
Kiki, I had no idea.
So, no science? Does that fit into the fun stuff category?
You've been scammed, sweetheart.
What?
I had no idea, Kiki.
I don't think I'm going to go to the Kiki K channel.
By the way, frying potatoes.
Oh, Stars Nova went to bed already. Stars Nova, hey. Frying potato chips?
In a deep fryer. Like,
Yeah.
the one thing I haven't tried yet, because I have a popcorn making machine, I haven't tried to deep fry popcorn yet. I think that's going to be tomorrow's challenge. I feel like that one was going to end up badly because that one seems like it should already be regular fair food, and I don't know that I've ever seen deep fried popcorn. So I'm going into it already thinking people who've owned fryers have tried this, and there's a reason we don't have like deep fried popcorn for sale. But I'm gonna try it, just see what happens. Like I'm gonna pop it first. I'm not gonna try like that would maybe that's the mistake the others made, is they just put the current popcorn kernels in the deep fryer and had an exploding deep fryer of oil going everywhere and never tried it again. But yeah, I'm going to pop. Yes, Hot Rod. I will pre-pop the corn and then put it into the fryer. That is the plan. What is Desbone? What healthy venture? You have no idea. None of us know what healthy food is. None of us know what healthy food is. It has nothing to do with what you eat. It has to do with what exists already in your gut and how it handles it.
You know, I'm gonna go on record and say that I don't think Twinkies are healthy.
Well, it depends on your gut microbe.
No.
Some of them handle gluten better than others, right? Like, look,
I don't think Olestra is healthy.
Uh,
I don't
glucose.
think Olestra. Nope.
So, again, if you haven't yet ordered Dr. Justin's Not a Real Doctor poop pills, you should put that on the Christmas list for all of those you love, because I've been proving almost to an amazing degree that you can eat anything with the right gut microbes and not gain weight, not have health issues, and go about your normal business, except for the flatulence thing. This also comes with being healthy. This is, but yes, Dr. Justin's poop pills, disclaimer, not a real doctor, may increase flatulence when connected to fried food, apparently. I haven't tried cauliflower yet. I will, though. Although I have put quite a bit of, which might actually be the real cause for the flatulence. I've put quite a bit of broccoli through the thing so far. Broccoli, lots of onions. I did this batter, and I put cheese, like chopped up shredded cheese in it, and then wrapped it up in more batter and had onions. Oh, cheesy balls. Let me tell you, this is a new thing. It's like tempura. It's basically the same sort of thing. Only you also can put cheese in it.
Thank you for the files, Identity 4. I got files. They're multiplying.
I deep fried some mushrooms.
I want to make fried chicken.
Ooh,
I could just eat fried mushrooms all day, every day.
I deep fried one of those
okra.
little cutie oranges.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Have you made fried
Deep
okra?
fried the cuties?
Yeah. Well, I took the peel off first, but then
Yeah, of
dropped it
course.
in there. Oh my gosh. It made them really gooey, but like 10 times as sweet. It was like candy. Oh, I also battered and deep fried a what do you call it?
A shoe.
Dehydrated pineapple.
Oh.
That was good. Like I'm like at the store.
You're like, I deep fried my keys. How do I go home?
Me and my 10-year-old were going up and down the aisle like, what can we put into the fryer? Like, let's just pick everything.
Yeah.
Like, we'll find everything. Like, what would this do fried? Can you deep fry a potato chip? Like, I don't know. Will it come out a potato chip or something new? Something better? Let's deep fry it and find out. Like, this is... Justin's going to put on an extra 25 pounds before Christmas. All right, this is what I'm saying. With Dr. Justin's Not a Real Doctor poop pills, it just doesn't happen. They're in control. They've got a system. It's like a good football team. It's a system. It's not the individual players. It's not the food that I put in. It's the system that puts it out that is in control of things.
Okay. All right. Bedtime?
What?
Oh,
Bedtime?
Why? Did somebody just get real tired all of a sudden?
Me? Bedtime?
Bedtime?
I started listening to a music video.
All right. Well,
It's really good. I'll share it with everybody.
we can end the show if you like, Blair.
It is bedtime.
Blair looks a little glazy-eyed. Like
It's time for me to go
she's
read
drifting off.
more of my change agent book. I'm reading Daniel Suarez's upcoming novel, Change Agent. It's going to be released in April, and it's all about the basis of the story is synthetic biology. There's a lot of neat ideas in it. Yeah, a lot of cool ideas. But I got an advanced reading copy, and I'm like deep in the thrillerness of it. It's good so far. I'm enjoying it. Might read it a couple of times. I don't know. Oh, hey, I might also have a guest for I guess it's show 600, our prediction show. She's written a book on actually making real predictions.
What do you mean actual real predictions?
Yeah, she's written a whole book on that, on the whole future future prediction, like not
Nice.
predicting, but actually
Mhm.
looking at trends and trying to decode what's going on with trends. Her name's Amy Webb. And so might be getting her on as a guest for, I guess it'll be show 600 for our prediction show.
Very
That'll be
cool.
fun. We
That's
can do
great.
our predictions and then talk with her about making predictions.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. That's awesome.
All right. This would be a good show. I think it'd be super fun. Oh,
Rob the
Desbone.
Strange in the chat room says, I fry everything in extra virgin olive oil. I never use vegetable oil. You know what, Rob the Strange? I've been using vegetable oil just because I didn't realize how long it would actually last and how much stuff I could fry through it. I thought I was going to go through it too quick. And vegetable oil, which I made sure was palm oil free. I used that because it was cheaper. Soybean oil, I think is what I'm using. But yeah, actually, I think I'll go with olive oil next time, knowing that I can use it longer than I could. And I understand olive oil has a lower smoking point, but actually, as we've discussed on the show in the past, molecularly stays more stable longer than other oils.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the
you
smoking
tell 'em.
point is sort of a misnomer. It's actually molecularly breaking down before it gets to the smoking point in other oils, where it's closer in relationship with the olive oil, which means it's a better indication that the oil needs to not be used at that point on, and therefore is actually probably a better oil to fry stuff in. Who knew? Well, you did if you listened to the show.
Neat.
Identity 4 has to get up at stupid o'clock in the morning. I don't like stupid o'clock. I'm sorry about that, but I hope you have a good sleeps. Get some good sleeps.
I'm still trying to make up for sleep I didn't get as a teenager.
Oh, right. I think my whole life is about that, but I don't know. I still act like a teenager sometimes, or a college student. I don't know.
I never do.
Every once
Blair,
in a while,
the
I'm like,
longer
I
you're in
can
that
stay
wig-
up all night.
The longer you're in
Totally.
that wig, the more I think you're actually turning into somebody else. Like I'm starting to not recognize you. I'm starting to actually not recognize you looking at the screen. It's so weird.
Oh, stop flattering me.
I don't know if I was flattering you. But it's okay. Yeah, you can take it that way. Why not?
You should make a deep fried pizza.
Oh,
That sounds like a lot of carbs, you guys.
So many carbs.
leftover pizza would if I had any like cold pizza, it would have been in the fryer by now.
Right?
Yeah,
I'd have to
it
go
would
to
have been.
so many Pilates classes to make up for some pizza.
There is.
Because, yeah.
I might even do a couple of
Pilates,
bar classes.
the hotties and a room full of bodies.
Oh, those are
I'm
awesome.
only quoting Madonna. Bar classes are great. I love-
Mhm.
They're
Is
really
that the one where
expensive.
they do the pole dancing?
No,
Or is that a different? What is
No,
that?
No,
one?
it's like
one where they go-
ballet.
No, there's one where they do like pole dancing.
Yeah, that's
Like,
called strip aerobics.
It is. It's like a thing.
Yeah.
You go in and it's like you have strippers who are like, okay, and it's like pretty intense stuff because there's like thing upside down where you're gripping and slowly move down the pole.
that's
I've
fun.
heard.
It's fun, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And apparently it's a pretty,
I've tried
pretty
it.
awesome workout.
It is an
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
It
so
is
did
an
my,
awesome
yoga
workout.
instructor.
Yeah. 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 Bar classes are a little too expensive for me, so I get them on YouTube. I might not have an instructor with me telling me what to do, but I'm like, I can do this. Let's do plies. There we go. On the toes.
You know, when you put the question out there, I wonder if you could deep fry blank. There's not a whole lot that you can. You can't fill that.
Can you deep fry water?
No, it's probably one of the few things.
Actually, you probably could if it was ice, right?
But well, no, but that's the thing. Like you can freeze stuff and coat it with something else, like a batter, and then like you could deep fry butter. You can deep fry a stick of butter if you freeze it first, batter it. You can deep fry it, but it's actually apparently, I haven't had a chance yet because it's only my stick of butter's been only in the freezer for a couple of hours, but I'll find out soon. But apparently, it's not that as amazing as you would think it is. Like people,
Yeah, you can deep fry ice cream. I've heard also.
Yeah, deep fry ice cream.
Any state fair. Somebody's
So why couldn't you deep fry ice, you guys?
It would splatter a lot.
That's the problem. Yeah,
A lot of splattering. Hot, sizzling, splattering. Death.
But how come I've never heard this is what I'm going to answer for myself tomorrow. How come I've never heard of deep fried popcorn? That seems like such a natural hit.
You're going to put the popcorn in the fryer after it's popped?
It'll probably get soggy.
Yeah.
I bet it'll just get too oily and soggy.
But isn't that what the fryer does, is that it usually makes that thing, like you would just think it's...
Are you going to put it in batter first? Or you're just going to throw it straight in?
Well, I'm going to have to run a couple of runs. I'm going to have to do one run where I just put it in, see what happens.
Frita.
The next time it's going to be like bread.
Justin, did you watch...
and nutrition yeast, and I'll dip it. I'll put it in a bag and I'll shake it all around, and then I'll deep fry it and see what happens.
Did you watch Arrested Development?
No, and I know a lot of people told me that was a great show, and I just couldn't ever get through.
Okay, there's a whole running plot line with I think it's called oh gosh, what's it called? The corn baller or something like that. It's a Bluth product that's a deep fryer, and everyone burns their hands on it.
Which I almost did already. The deep fryer I got is actually pretty smart. Like you can put stuff in with the lid sort of closing as you put it in. And as you lift it up, the lid sort of opens. You can sort of rest it on top so it can sort of drain. It's like very cleverly designed. But I did, as I was using tongs to get something out of the fryer, which was raised up out of the oil already, I did touch the cage a little bit. But yeah, so it's always possible. You're working with, and this thing, I mean, a lot of people have been hurt by this machine. A lot of people have been hurt. It's just horror stories in the past. The plug on the back of it is magnetically adhered so that with very little resistance, the separation of the unit and the plug just separates. It just separates.
Right. So it doesn't, so you don't like trip on the wire and have spilling oil go everywhere.
Right. Also the wire itself is like a foot long. They make you put it right next because it won't drape down. It's not long enough to go from the unit. It goes from unit to the wall, and it's not long enough to drape down because that's happened. Like and it has like, if it gets over a certain temperature, the thing shuts off. You have to cool the oil, pour it out, go in with a screwdriver, pop the bottom, hit a reset button, plug everything back in again to get it to operate again. Like, obviously, deep fryers have maimed lots of people because I've never owned any appliance that had so many safety devices and protocols built into it. And in fact, the entire book that comes with it is one long disclaimer. I mean, it's all safeguards.
Don't burn yourself. Don't burn yourself.
Don't use.
Don't burn yourself. Don't burn yourself.
Yeah. The only thing it doesn't have is pictures of people who've been burned grievously by these things. So, and I don't even understand quite the magnetic connection for the plug, because it's not the base of the power cord, when you don't plug it in, literally there's a magnet that keeps it in contact, right? Crazy, right? But at the point where the thing's been plugged in and on and gets like knocked off of a shelf and covers your leg in burning oil, does it really matter that it's not plugged in anymore? I don't like that part. I didn't understand, but there's some scenario where maybe a house burned down. Who knows? But I don't know why that one's there. It doesn't quite make. Oh, I think I do know the reason. Now I get it. Because once upon a time, the cord was really long and draped down, and somebody who tripped over the cord brought the machine off the counter.
That's what I just said.
But now it just disconnects when you trip over the cord. Yeah, now I'm up to speed though. I have to actually get there through the voice of reason. I have to actually work things out. I'm one of those annoying people. It's like, okay, why are we doing this? I literally need to know why I'm doing this. It's not enough to say that's how we do it. I need to know why I do things. Like that helps me do these things when I know why I do these things. Like I need to be explained why. So I get it. So it was for accidentally tripping on the cord or pulling the cord or snagging the cord. Now it's a quick release on the cord. Plus the cord is like 4 inches long. Like you actually have to hold the deep fryer in both hands because the cord isn't long enough to be on the kitchen counter to where the plug is. It's like if we could get away with no cord, we would do it because this is how people have hurt themselves with this machine. But I'm really loving it. I'm like, next to my Neanderthal skull, which is my other new acquisition.
Are you going to deep fry that?
No, but if I could, I would.
Deep fried Neanderthal skull.
Mm-hmm.
No, but if somebody sends me, or if I could get my hands on a bit of frozen mammoth flesh, exactly where it's going, straight into the deep fryer. And yes, I will try it.
And then straight into a vomit bag.
Deep fryer cures everything. Kills everything, cures everything. Deep fryer. Rancid flesh, no problem.
Okay.
Put it in the deep fryer.
This
Bed.
coughing
Blair.
person
Good night,
has to go to bed.
Yeah.
Good night. And they all like, good night, everyone.
Good night, Blair.
Good night.
Like, oh my gosh, it's time for us to go. I know this moment's been coming for a while, but it's got to happen eventually. So I hope you all have a really good night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll try Ditzy Justin too. Let's see. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending our show.
Oh my God, are you like from Australia or something?
I'm not sure where this accent's from, but oh yeah, now that you said that, now it obviously is from Detroit City. It's the only place where people talk like this.
Oh, are you Spanish? Is that like Germany? Where is that?
Your timing of this question is totally impeccable.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Timing.
Good night, everyone.
Actually, it's very impeccable. But I will let it go because it's good to see you again. Okay.
Okay, goodbye.
Good night, sweethearts. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweethearts. I really must say, good night, sweethearts. Good night.
Night
Thanks for
all.
watching, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful week. We'll be back next week. Bye. Stop broadcast. That's the button. There.